Hey everybody, Mad Mikey B coming at you here from the Spin Lounge. Got another one for you today. Today's video, going to go over some of my vinyl collection, specifically my signed vinyl. As many of you that know me, I love going to concerts. I love the experience, making memories. What I like to do at a lot of concerts is to get get a vinyl there at the show and then wait after the show and have the artist actually sign it. Now, in this modern age, it is kind of getting a little harder to do so with a lot of mainstream bands, but for a lot of your local, smaller bands at smaller venues, it's still possible to do so. So what I'll do today is kind of go over a couple albums that I have and what I have signed and kind of the memories behind them. First one up is a Immortalized album by Disturbed. A little background on this album. The Disturbed came to Chicago Open Air, which was a festival held around, I believe it was like 2017, 2018, might have been 2016 as well too. Festival's no longer around, but they had a tent for FYE, and then what would happen if you go in, buy a record, you were able to possibly get a wristband in order to meet the band and get them to sign the album or anything you wanted. So this album was signed by David Draymond and the rest of the crew at Disturbed. Such a great album, especially after their hiatus from the Asylum album, which a lot of people didn't know if David was just going to do his own thing or what was going to go on. And Disturbed has since come out with an album or two afterwards. Not my favorite albums by all means, but this album, at least for the touring cycle, will still stick with me as a really cool experience. I'll bring up Open Air a couple different times in this video, mainly because of the experience and the ability to do the meet and greets with a lot of these bands. Speaking of which, the next vinyl is from one of my favorite bands of all time. It is Bullet for My Valentine. This is the Fever album. This, to me, is their best album. I know a lot of people would say it would be The Poison. It's justified. Their biggest selling hit of all time, Tears Don't Fall, is on that album. It's what made them who they are. But this album holds a special place in my heart. And then when I saw this at the FYE tent, I had to get it signed. There was no way I couldn't. Great group of guys. Can't wait to see them again next year. I actually managed to buy the meet and greet pass for Chicago for next year, so hopefully me and my wife will be able to bring a couple vinyl and get that signed and add to the collection. Now this next one, I did not meet the artist or the band, mainly because it's kind of impossible nowadays. This is the Stage album. This is by Avenged Sevenfold. This is their most recent album before the Life is a Dream album, which I am not a fan of. This album I'm also kind of not really a fan of. I'm still kind of up in the air. It's either a masterpiece one day and then it's a turd the next. I'm just not into the whole prog thing. That's just not me. I love their metalcore days like Wake and Fallen, but I understand you got to make money and you got to appeal to the masses. This was an online only release. I haven't seen too many of these in the wild. Somebody had posted on Reddit that there might be less than 200 in the wild. I don't know if that's true or not. Somebody, if you want to comment in the comments below, let me know. But I'm never really going to get the ability to do an actual meet and greet with this band because they're so big at this point unless I spend thousands of dollars. So luckily, this is just a cool piece of memorabilia that I'm able to keep for the collection. Next up, another band from Open Air. This is Amon Amarth. This is the Avenger album. Same thing. Got the band to sign it. I've met the band once before, actually at Mayhem Festival. Got them to sign the tour catalog before I started collecting stuff like this. It's just pretty cool Viking metal. Not the best album by any means. My favorite is Jom's Viking, which anybody that knows me, I love that album. But still pretty good. And like I said, it's just overall just for the collection as well too. Now, we start getting into the realm of my favorite artists of all time. One of them happens to be Sturgill Simpson. Little connection between me and Sturgill is actually between my dad. My dad served 21 and a half in the Navy. Had actually served with Sturgill. Then actually, when I mentioned Sturgill before my dad passed away, he recognized him immediately. And that was kind of a connection between me and Sturgill through my dad. And it's honestly never left me. So anything he comes out with, I'm a fan of, even if he's kind of left the whole outlaw country music scene. He never really was that scene to begin with, but he was credited to be one of the people to revive that scene altogether, along with like Cody Jinks and Coulter Wall and artists like that. A funny story about this was he was playing the Egyptian Room. I believe it was race weekend, and he had no intention of really signing anything or meeting people. This is before they built the wooden fence by the tour buses that was just all open by the door. He was kind of caught off guard, and took pictures, shook hands, did a couple autographs. So I managed to get Metamodern, which is his second album. I've also got Hilltop, which is his first album. It was so dark you couldn't see what was being signed, so he signed the front and back. He signed the front of this. It's personalized on the front, actually, which is really nice. I have no intention of selling these, so personalize it all you want. So it's like I said, it's mainly a memory for me. And then also the album that got him nominated for a Grammy for Album of the Year. Sailor's Guide, signed front and back because he couldn't see what he was doing because it was so dark. Now we're going to go to the Macabre. One of my favorite bands of all time is a band called Ghost. First time I saw them was opening up for Avenged Sevenfold and Deftones. With that show, it was a terrible show. It was under the guise of Clips Music Center. They did not put in front speakers to the pit, which me and my buddy Trevor had pit tickets. And the show was garbage. You couldn't literally hear nothing come out of any band. Chino was literally like screaming into a mic, and everybody in the pit was looking at each other and falling asleep because you just couldn't hear anything. And it sucked, but the ambiance and presence that Papa Emeritus had at that time, it still shocks me to this day of that stage presence. And I remember the day after, me and my buddy Trevor, we went to the Exchange, bought a couple CDs, and been hooked ever since. Went to the next show at the Vic in Chicago, managed to get Opus and the second album signed. He was Papa Emeritus III at the time, and so he normally signs it whatever Papa he is, instead of like this one would be like Papa 1, Papa 2. He did just Papa 3, which is, ever since the lawsuits come out, the lead singer's name is Tobias Forge. So that was a really cool thing for him. All right, so kind of a break in the video. One of the things I'm going to highlight on these videos is my bourbon collection as well too. Obviously it's a spin lounge. I have a lot of bourbon. And the pour of the day is a recent pickup. It's the Wild Turkey. It's the 70th anniversary edition. It's the aged 8 years. Really, really good bourbon. I'm not really into Wild Turkey too much. The single barrel is really good, or the 101 is really good. But this is a really good flavor profile, oak note. Very subtle on a taste, not a lot of burn. Really good sipping whiskey as well too. I believe that's 101 proof actually, so it's kind of almost like the 101, just a different recipe. A little bit smoother, a little bit more fruitier as well too. So if you manage to find a bottle, grab yourself one. It's an interesting pour. It's an excellent juice. All right, so the next one's going to be probably my rarest vinyl. This is actually the album by Rammstein. I can never really pronounce this album without butchering the name, but Schlit is Schlit. However you pronounce this. This is actually signed by all members of the band. I can't replicate this if I tried. This band is so big at this point. I don't think they do any meet and greets at this point at this point in time. I've been offered a lot of money for this record, and I won't let it go. So this is the one that has obviously Du Hast and Engel in it, two of their biggest songs of all time. and it's one of those to where I usually keep this locked up. There's a couple vinyl that are really valuable, and I took this one out of the vault. Um, One of these days, I'll kind of go over like top 10 lists of rarest and highest priced vinyl I have. This is probably one of them right here. So, great album, great listen. One of my rarest vinyls that I own, especially with the signatures. So, glad and happy to have this in my collection. Kind of moving forward and back into the rock scene as well too. One of the bands that I like going to, and one of my favorite bands of all time, it has my favorite album of all time, is 10 Years. What I like about 10 Years is they tend to bring artists on their tours as openers, and the majority of those artists I fall in love with. One would be like the Family Ruin. Unfortunately, I don't think they're really a band anymore. I can't really find anything on them. Another one is Black Map. I have both of their albums right here. I believe there is another album. I'm not too sure on that. I'll make a comment if it is. These are personalized, signed by the band. Great bunch of guys. Great music. Anytime they're close to this area, I try to go see the show. It's one of those to where if I kind of see an artist and fall in love with them, and as long as they don't do anything stupid, I'll follow that band. Moving on to another kind of a rare autograph would be Dream Theater. So this is the Astonishing box set. When they came to Indianapolis for this tour and played the album in its entirety, I waited outside the venue. At that point, it was the Murat Theater. There's 3 rooms for the Old National Center: the Murat, the Egyptian, and the deluxe room. Obviously, the theater sitting one is the Murat. Managed to wait out for the band. Got all the band to sign. That's kind of a rarity. I don't really see that anymore with Dream Theater, to be honest with you. Well, except for Mike, which is now in the band, but at that point he wasn't in the band. Great album, great listen, just something I throw on every now and then just to relax too. So glad to have this in my collection. One I have in my collection is actually it's not a Kickstarter. It was the site's now, no, I think it was a Kickstarter. It was either that or like like an Indiegogo or something like that. It was the President of the United States releasing the self-titled album and having it actually signed. It's just, you obviously have the one song on here that made them big, but I mean it's still one of those that it's just, weirdly enough, it's not even open. So it's one of these I just might keep this sealed wrap until I ever want to listen to it. Next up is actually a band that 10 Years actually introduced to me. One of the good things about 10 Years is they like to bring bands with them that, to me, kind of highlight, the up and coming scene of rock. And one of these at that time was Crowbot. When me and Trevor saw them at the Vogue, I was blown away. Like, I had to get a signature. I had to get this vinyl. It's such an amazing crew, such great music. If you haven't taken a listen to Crowbot, I would highly recommend you do so. It's great tunes. One of my also favorite bands of all time is a band called Baroness. With this is the Gold and Gray album. I actually put the concert ticket for, they had a acoustic show at Indie City and Vinyl, and managed to get them to sign the album as well too. Just a great band overall. Great sound, great music. Anything they come out with is just fantastic. And one of the last ones I'll do for the video, like I said, I got a lot of signed vinyl. It's one of those to where I can have like probably 10 videos, but right now I'm just gonna do just one, and then I'll kind of spread them out. The next one is a metal band by the name of Horrendous. This was actually at the Vogue as well too. I don't remember who they opened up for. It might have been Obituary. I can't remember. Just saw them this year actually open up for Tomb Mold. Great bunch of guys, great metal. I'm obviously a big metalhead, as you can see by the Ghost Bath shirt that I'm wearing. I have a bunch more records when it comes to metal, including black metal, death metal, speed metal, thrash metal, any type of metal that exists. So it's one of those to where I'll show you more as the videos keep progressing. But as of right now, it's kind of the beginning of the collection that I want to show you. If you guys already haven't, please click that like button. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Me and Brock got more videos coming to you in the future. I believe he is doing a video on his Jordans as we speak. So hopefully I should be able to have that posted sometime in the next week. If there's anything that you want to see on the show, feel free to make a comment down below. I'll try to incorporate that in the videos as we keep going forward. Until then, have a good one.